Hello everyone, and welcome to this demo of the Owners Portal for MEWS. Today we'll walk through how the portal works, the information it provides, and how it helps make property management easier. We'll start with the main dashboard, then take a closer look at an example of unit. From there, we'll move into viewing reservations and see how you can also view revenue. After that, we'll cover the onboarding process with property settings. Post that, we will explain how to handle user creation and assigning users to units. Once that's complete, we'll go into creating statements and then explore the different ways to view reports. Finally, we'll wrap up by showing what the experience looks like when logging in as an owner. This demo is meant to give you a clear picture of all the key features and how they connect to make the MEWS Owners Portal simple and seamless to use. Let's dive in. Section 1. Main Dashboard. This section demonstrates the main dashboard and menu. This includes an overview of all units, information on how to access different parts of the Owners Portal, and which parts or sections of the portal can be viewed or managed from there. What you are seeing in front of you is a full listing of all of the units that have been fetched from your property management system. Each of these cards represents an individual unit. On the left-hand side, we can see a menu where if you have multiple properties, you are able to switch between them. You can see a full listing of all other sections of the system where you're able to access different things such as the user's overview, additional property settings, and any statements you may generate. In the bottom left corner, you can access different language options and switch the entire system language to those options, as well as access your profile or log out of the system. If you were to access your profile, you will then be able to manage the details of your property admin profile, including email, phone number, changing your personal financial data, updating your password, setting up your two-factor authentication, as well as logging out of browser session or deleting your account. Section 2. Example of unit. This section demonstrates how to find and manage a specific unit and the related details. This includes information about which owners have access to the unit, for which time frame, as well as images, description, and features of the unit. From the dashboard, you can use this bar to look up a specific unit. Clicking on any one of the cards will allow you to access more details about that unit. Here, if the property management system allows it, we are able to fetch images as well as a description and possibly a feature list regarding this particular unit. If you would like to change anything about the unit, you can click on Edit Unit, and here you can access and edit the name of the unit, which owners are assigned to the unit, as well as overriding unit details. So you are able to change the image that was visible in the previous screen, as well as the description and the features. This is something you can update, and always make sure you click Save. If you click Back to Units, you will also be taken to a different overview of all units, which is a list view, but you are still able to access all of the same information over here. Section 3. Viewing reservations. This section shows how to access more information about all reservations that are booked in a specific unit. Reservation dates, as well as other unit blocks, out of order, out of service, are also displayed here in a calendar view. From this overview, you can also access more information about reservations. We can look up a specific room or unit. Clicking on the name will allow us to have access to that unit in a similar view as we saw in the previous video. And here we are able to access reservations and revenue information related to this unit. For start, we will look at reservations. In this overview, you are able to see all of the reservations that are already existing on this unit. Here you have information about the start and end periods of the reservation, how many adults or children are included in the reservation, and additional information such as origin country, price, and own usage if that is available. This information is also displayed on the calendar, and you are able to see here. The calendar uses 3 different colors that will help you and the owner of the unit differentiate whether reservations are coming from other guests through the PMS, they are made by the owner, or by you as the property admin on behalf of the owner, or whether that particular block is actually an out of order or out of service block in the property management system. Section 4. View revenue. This section demonstrates how to view and interpret revenue information generated in the PMS for each of the nights booked in a particular unit. Additional information is also mentioned regarding configuring commissions, as well as how this overview relates to statement generation. From this overview of your unit, aside from being able to view reservation details, you can also access the revenue related to this unit. By clicking on View Revenue, you will then see an individual breakdown of all of the revenue per a select period, and you can switch between month, quarter, or year. You can switch between different months and then view the revenue for those individual months. Each of these lines indicates revenue that was generated for that night in the PMS. We are looking at a breakdown of starting with net value and then applying any deductions that you have configured during the property setup. Here at the very end, you can see what the system has calculated is to be paid out for that particular night. All of the columns that you are seeing here are fully customizable, and we will cover those in the property setup section. The bottom line down here shows the totals for that given period. This information about the revenue is also what is used to generate statements, which we will cover in another video. It is important to understand that revenue information is an optional feature, in the sense that you are able to hide this information from the owners if you so choose. This is another setting at the property level, which we will cover shortly. Section 5. Property Settings. This section explains how the Owners Portal environment must be configured during the onboarding process. This includes information about various key features that can be enabled, how documents can be shared with owners, where to set up revenue deductions, how to modify the look and feel of your profile, and create custom instructions displayed to owners. To start using your Owners Portal environment, there are 3 main steps that you have to take in order to properly configure the setup. The first step would be to set up your property. You can do so by clicking on Property and then Edit. In this section, you will find different tabs that contain different configuration options that you are able to use. In the Property Settings tab, you can determine whether you want to show revenue to users, whether you want to show certain reports to users, if you want the investors or owners to be notified of reservations coming in. This is also where you are able to upload different documents that are automatically shared with owners. In another video, we will show you what this looks like from the owner profile perspective. In addition to those, in this section, you're also able to configure commission calculations, certain products that you want to offer when the owners are making their own reservation, as well as rules for making their reservations, such as which rate should be used, if there is a limit to the number of nights they can book, and the property date format, as well as making reservations for other people. In the additional tabs above, you are able to configure revenue deductions. This is where you are able to set up any sort of commissions or cleaning fees. This should be deducted from the revenue before the remaining amount can be paid out to the owners. The remaining 3 tabs include invoice data for your property. This information will be included in the statements that you can generate directly from the system. Design settings. This section can be used to upload your own logo, which would then replace the Omniboost logo shown here. Add a banner image, as well as modify the background color, text color, and the menu background color. Finally, in the Custom Messages tab, you're able to enter custom instructions for your owners in 5 different sections of the system. This will help you proactively inform clients or owners of things that they should be doing once creating reservations or while they're looking at their particular profile. Section 6, User Creation. This section demonstrates how to create and manage user profiles for your owners. This is a crucial step of the onboarding process and must be completed so that the owners can access relevant information. In this video, I will show you how you can create users, which will be the second step to your onboarding process. After you've completed your property configuration, you would go to Users and then Add User. And this is where you would enter information regarding the owner. The moment you click Save, The owner will be informed via the email that you've provided here. They will be invited to access their profile, provide some additional information that is required for statement generation. They will not be able to see any unit, reservation, or revenue information until you've completed step 3 of the onboarding, which will be assigning users to units. That will be covered in the next video. Once you've created a user, you will be able to see them from the user overview. They will be listed here. And down in this section below, you are able to see and restore previously deleted users. From this section, you're also able to sign in as an investor and view the system from their perspective, as well as modify an owner's profile. If you click on the name of an owner or user, you're able to see the original information entered, but you are also now able to modify additional settings. If you wish to share some documents that are only specific to this owner, such as a private contract, you would then upload those here instead of at the property level. And this is where you are able to override the settings that you have configured at the property level. If your contract should be different for this owner than for the rest of the owners, the settings that you implement here will be applied to this particular owner only. Below, in the user invoice data section, you will be able to find more information about this owner profile. This is something that the owner themselves can fill out. At the moment they have access to their profile, this information will automatically be pulled into statements generated for this owner through this system. Section 7. Assigning users to units. This section explains how to connect users to the units they should have access to, as well as how to define the period of access and any specific maximum usage night count per year for this owner and unit. After you've configured your property settings and created user profiles, the last remaining step before your Owners Portal environment is ready to go live is assigning users to units. You can do so by clicking on Units. And individually, you can assign users by going to Edit an individual unit. But the easiest way to assign all users to their specific units is by going to Edit All Units, selecting the owner that you wish to assign to a particular unit, and then assigning them to a single or multiple units down here. You can do so by clicking on the unit. If you wish to override the property level usage night count, meaning that this particular owner should be able to reserve more or less nights for this unit, then you can enter that value here. And the minimum information required for this setup is the start date. So please make sure you enter the date from which this owner should have access to this unit's reservations and revenue information. If you enter an end date here, when that date arrives, the owner will lose access to that particular unit, but their user profile will remain. If you do not enter an end date, the owner will be able to create reservations and see reservations and revenue for the future until you've come in here and changed that. Section 8, Creating Statements. This section demonstrates how to create and access financial statements or reports for owners. This includes a detailed walkthrough of the statement overview, all available fields on an example statement, and how to create a new statement. Additionally, the video explains how to enable automated statement generation and apply recurring fees to minimize manual work. Once you've configured your Owners Portal environment, you've set up the property settings, you've created the users and assigned them to units, you are then able to generate statements or reports for your owners. To do so, you can go to Statements. Here you will see an overview of all of the statements or reports that you've already created for the owners. You can see that when statements are created, they are always created as draft. And in this stage, the owner has not received any of this information. You are still able to preview a statement, edit it, and delete it. Once a statement has been sent, it will receive a sequence number that is defined by your property settings. The status will change to sent, and the statements will no longer be modifiable. They can only be previewed. We're going to look at an example statement now. Here is an example statement that you are able to generate. In the top right corner, you can see the name of this statement. You can change it to report or invoice, whatever suits your operations. In the top left-hand corner, your logo will be visible. In this section below, we will pull information from the owner profile, and then over here, information from your property profile. If we zoom in a little bit, we can see information about when the statement was issued, additional information from the owner profile. This statement is generated for this particular period, and this owner has 2 separate units, out of which only the second one had reservation within this period. We can see that there were 2 reservations, and we can see the start and end period, the starting net value, as well as the deductions that are applied at either the property level or at the owner profile level, depending on your selected settings. In the right-hand column over here, we can see the totals. And below it, we see an example of a single deduction. So in the previous period for which this statement is generated, there was a broken lamp as an example, and there is a specific deduction that needs to be taken out of the payout before the remaining amount is sent to the owner. Down below, we can see a summary of the information above, where we have the total room revenue minus the extra or minus the additional one-off charge, as well as a subtotal, a VAT breakdown, and finally the grand total that can be sent out to the owner's account. Now, if we go back to the owner's portal, we can see how to create a statement. A statement can be created manually or automatically. I will first walk you through how to create a statement manually. Statements can be created per unit or per owner. If you wish to create it per owner, you will need to select an owner. You can see here that if an owner does not have their invoice data filled, you will not be able to generate an invoice for them because there will be nothing for them to populate the top left-hand section we saw earlier. If an owner owns more than a single unit, you are able to select whether all should be grouped or if you wish to generate individual statements. You can fully control the statement's start and end date. There is no limitation. You do not have to do it on a monthly or a weekly or a quarterly basis. That is entirely up to you. If you wish for the statement to not only be sent to an owner, but to an additional email such as your accounting team or anybody else on the owner side as well, you can simply enter that email here. Once the information is sent to the owner, it will also be sent to this additional receiver. You can determine the amount of detail that is included in the statement. Should it be a single summary line, or should there be a price breakdown, such as we saw in the previous example, where you have all of the values and how we arrived at the final total? This option allows you to determine whether a long-term reservation that may span 2 payout periods should be displayed. Should it be displayed on both statements as the individual reservation nights are consumed? Or, if this is enabled, should it only be visible on the second statement? Meaning that at that point in time, the reservation has been finished and is most likely already paid for by the guest. And finally, this is where you would be entering the one-time deduction for the broken lamp, as in the example, or any other one-time deduction that needs to be applied to the statement. Now I will show you how to create statement templates. You can do so by clicking on Statements, Statement Templates, and then Create Template. This view is very similar to creating an individual statement with the additional options of the start and end dates and the frequency. The information I need to enter here, for example, would be from January 1st of 2025 until January 1st, 2030, and then tell the system every week, month, or quarter to generate the statements automatically, following the rules that you have selected below. And this would be a great opportunity if you have recurring fees, such as HOA association or certain bills that have to be applied or certain deductions that have to be taken out of the owner's statements every single month. This will make sure that this field is always present on the statement, and then you can easily modify the amounts if they change between the different months. Once the template runs, the statements will then be visible in draft form here, and then you would be able to go in and edit them. So this, for example, if it was a recurring monthly fee, you could come in here and change the value to a different amount so that it's applicable to the correct period. Section 9. View Reports. This section explains how to access and use different reports available in the Owners Portal. The first set of reports available are property level performance reports, which include average daily rate, year-to-date revenue, cumulative revenue, and occupancy. The final report is a reconciliation report that displays your PMS revenue, VAT, and OTA commission data, as well as per unit and per property summary for easy overview and reconciliation. As you continue to use the Owners Portal environment, you are able to view certain reports, and you can even choose to share some of those reports with your owners. The reconciliation report is an excellent way to compare your Owners Portal environment to your MEWS PMS. To access those reports, click on Property. Here you're able to see View Reports. I'll show you that one first. What we're looking at here is a collection of 4 standard hospitality metrics: average daily rate, year-to-date revenue, cumulative revenue, and occupancy. Please note that these reports are all aggregate across all of your units and they're anonymized, so there is no way to see this for a specific unit. But if you hover over any of the bars, you can see the aggregate information for the select period, which is also distinguished by different colors. These reports can be made available to your owners, either all of them or select ones. They can easily be overwritten on their owner profiles. And it is a very good way to proactively answer questions about how the overall property is performing and whether, for example, the reservation distribution is fair between different units or owners. If you go back to your property and then click on View Reconciliation, we are now going to look at a report that is going to be more for internal operations. What you can do here is you can select any given period and click Search. And what we're going to see here is a aggregation of information for the selected period directly from your property management system. And it is grouped by individual units. So here, for example, for Unit 304, for this period, we see that there was 1 reservation. Here's the external identifier. We have the gross, VAT, and the net. These values will match your MEWS accounting report exactly, and you can look those up in there. And then if there are any OTA deductions applied in your property configuration, you will see that this value will be lower than the net column. And then the final right column here shows you the total amount calculated according to your configuration within the statement that was generated for that period. You can see that this happens across all of the units, and at the bottom you will be able to see the overall property amounts. So gross, VAT, and net minus any OTA calculations, and then the final invoice payouts that were done for that particular period. If you go to Property and then click View Reconciliation, you are able to generate a report that is very useful in comparing your Owners Portal data with your MEWS property management data, specifically with the MEWS accounting report. If you select the desired period you would like to look at and then click Search, you will see the results of the reservation revenue information grouped by the different units. So, for example, in Unit 304, we see there was 1 reservation. This is the external identifier of the reservation from MEWS. Here we have the gross, VAT, and net values, and these are the values that will be matching your MEWS accounting report because that is where the information is fetched from. If there are additional commission calculations configured in your Owners Portal, then this value will be lower than the net column. And finally, the right-hand column shows the total amount that is expected to be paid out for this reservation in the statement generated. If we go down to the bottom, you are also able to see the property totals. So this is a good way to see the property totals and the unit totals grouped, which is not available anywhere else in the system. Section 10. Logging in as an owner. This video demonstrates how you can log in as an owner. This allows you to see what information is available to owners via their profile, how they can make their own reservations, view documents shared, and manage additional details of their profiles. While this view displays all of the information across all of the units when you're logged in as a property admin, you are also able to log in and see the view from an individual owner. To do so, click on Users, select the owner that you wish to log in as, and click Sign in as Investor. This would be the view that the owner will see when they log into their profile. You can see here that they are only able to see the units that are assigned to their profile. If we click on an individual unit, they will be able to see the reservations and potentially the revenue, depending on your configuration. From the reservation overview, they are able to see all of the reservations. And if there is a reservation that is booked under their name or through their profile, they will also be able to see the full price of that reservation, as well as a little tick mark that this is their own reservation. You can also see that this is the only reservation that can actually be edited. If you've enabled it from the property settings perspective, they will also see the button to add reservations. To do so, they can click on Add Reservation. Looking at the calendar, they are able to see easily what is free in the upcoming period. But also, if they click on the little calendar icon here, any dates that may be taken are going to be blocked out, making it significantly easier for them to create reservations. So we can select a specific period that we would like to book a reservation for, enter the number of adults, number of children. If you offer any products for the owners to select during the reservation, they are able to select them here. And they can also enter any notes that should be pushed directly into the PMS. And then click Create. When they click Create, they will receive a final summary page of their reservation showing the unit, the start and end date, number of adults and children, and the price. Please note that the price here is determined by the reservation settings and the reservation rate that you have confirmed in the property management system. Here, they can choose to confirm the reservation, which will then push the reservation automatically into the PMS, or change their mind and cancel the reservation. They will see a success banner at the very top. From their profile, they're also able to access documents, which you have shared with the entire property, documents which you've shared only with them through their profile, as well as statements that have been generated for this owner. If you've chosen to share reports with them, they will be able to access the property level reports. And if they click on bookings, they're also able to view their own bookings, meaning the reservations that have been created through their profile. So this is another place where they're able to create a reservation if this setting is enabled at the property level. Finally, down here, they can manage their profile as well as change the language settings. Thank you for taking the time to watch this demo of the Owners Portal for MEWS. We hope it gave you a clear overview of the key features and how they can support your property management. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out directly or contact us anytime at support@omniboost.com.